it's probably the most important invention in human history. What's going on, everyone? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and this is episode 15 of Coffee with Chris. So first off, I just want to say Happy New Year, Happy 2020 to everybody. We have a lot of new exciting things happening here at 416 Coffee, so 2020 is going to be a fun year, super caffeinated, so stay tuned for that. Now, this episode is super important. This episode is about how to dial in an espresso shot. So like I said in a previous video, I know a lot of people were getting espresso machines as gifts to themselves or from someone else for the holidays. So this episode will teach you how to get great espresso flowing from that new espresso machine you got. So when it comes to pulling espresso, there's a few variables that we have control of. We have grams in, grams out, and grind profile. Now, technically we also have shot time, meaning how long your pump is on for during the extraction. But I'm going to explain later that should be a byproduct of the other three variables being dialed in. So the first thing you're going to need is a recipe. Now your recipe is a ratio. So you're going to need to know how many grams do I want in and how many grams do I want out. I always tell people a great place to start is 1 to 2. So let's say you're going to pull a double shot. You're going to use 18 grams of espresso. You're going to want 36 grams out. So depending on your basket size, this will be a little different. So whatever basket you're using, look at the manual or any information you have on that machine. See what dosage is supposed to go in that basket and start there. So for example, if you're using a single basket and it says it should be 7 or 8 grams, start there. But chances are you have what's considered a double basket. So let's say you're going to put 18 grams in. So 18 grams in and 36 grams out is what you're looking for. So those two variables are taken care of. So you're left with two things to kind of dial in. You need to dial in the grind profile to make sure that the 18 grams in and the 36 grams out happens over the course of around 25 to 30 seconds. Now this seems to be the ideal length of time for an espresso shot to be pulled. If it's happening too quickly, if it's happening under 25 seconds, you run into the issue of having a very hollow shot that doesn't have a lot of flavor and is super watery because the water's pretty much just blowing by all those grounds. Now, if it takes way too long, if it's taking 45, 50 seconds, you're running into the possibility of having a super bitter, astringent shot. So by selecting a ratio, you have a great starting point because then you take two variables out of the equation, 18 in, 36 out. So what you're going to start by doing is weighing your portafilter, zeroing it out, and then adding 18 grams in this case into the portafilter. Then you're going to tamp. You're going to tamp like this, elbow down, thumb down, directly on top. That's kind of the proper way to tamp. You want to generate about 30 pounds of pressure. Now, obviously that's pretty hard to feel it, but once you start pulling some shots, you'll get into a rhythm and kind of have a sense of how hard to push down. If you need extra help, there are companies on the market that make tampers with springs in them that are calibrated to click at 30 pounds of pressure, so you kind of know how hard to tamp. So once your shot's tamped, you're going to put it in, and the second you turn on your pump, however you're doing that, button, if there's a dial, whatever, however you turn on your pump, whenever you turn on your pump, you're going to start your timer. Now, the second you start your timer, pay attention to your scale because you should have a cup zeroed out underneath your portafilter so that you can gauge how long it's going to take for that cup to have 36 grams of liquid coffee in it. Now the key here is to understand that if it's taking too long, let's say it's taking 45, 50 seconds, your grind is too fine, you need to go a bit coarser and restart. If it's too quick, your grind is too coarse. Those are pretty much the only two variables you're going to have control of on a simple home setup, assuming you're using a new machine. Obviously, if you're using an older machine, you could have issues like pump pressure. You could have issues like the flow rate of the water is actually wrong. But I'm assuming you have like a new home espresso machine. And I'm not really getting into something called pre-infusion, which some machines do have now at the home market, but is more still of a commercial specialty kind of gadget. I can do another video with pre-infusion and kind of the science behind that at some point in time, but I'm talking about how to get like great coffee out of just a simple home machine. So that's what you're gonna do: grams in, grams out, and the time. And how you're gonna make changes to the time is through changing your grind profile. You know, one or two numbers finer, one or two numbers coarser. Now, the key here is to only change one variable at a time. Don't go in there and start going, oh, but maybe like I should put a bit more coffee in and get a little less out. I want it to be a ristretto. Don't do that. Stick to 1 to 2 and play with your grind. Once the grind's perfect and you're getting, 18 grams in, 36 grams out, and it's taking you, 28 seconds, for example, and you're tasting it and it tastes great, then if you want to tweak a little bit and see, hey, what happens if I put an extra gram of coffee in? What happens if I, stop the shot a couple seconds shorter? Then absolutely play with that, taste, see what you like. Because every coffee is going to need some fine tuning. But as long as you start with that 1 to 2, it's going to make it super easy for you to control one variable and see what differences that grind profile is going to make to the end result. So guys, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me rant about espresso shots, and let me know in the comments below if this was helpful, if you were able to get better results out of your espresso machine. As always, see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.